Hello everyone, this is JPL, and today I'm joined with
Matthew.
right beside him is,
Cat.
and on our call we have,
Boo Boo.
yes, Boo Boo. And we are the counts of the podcast name in the brackets, and today our subject is the top 5 movies of 2016, a interesting year. And we will start off. This is how we go. We each talk about our number 5 in a row, and then we go to number 4 in a row, and so on. And we'll get to the other stuff then. Anyway, so we'll start with number 5, and who should start?
I can start.
Alright, Matthew, let's go.
Okay, so my number 5 pick, and I haven't seen it on a lot of top 10 lists, which kind of surprises me, is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And that's the new Harry Potter movie, and yeah, with all of the blockbusters that came out this year, a lot of them were like very involved in the mythology of their franchises, and yet Fantastic Beasts is a very self-contained story, and sort of you can sit back and enjoy it without worrying about how it will influence the rest of the franchise.
Okay. For me, about Fantastic Beast, I haven't seen it yet. I would like to, but because no one wanted to watch it with me, I didn't see it. Do you have any comments, Boo Boo?
I haven't seen it yet either. I'd really like to, but I haven't had the chance yet.
Alright, Kat?
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Alright, no.
However, I'm not really too excited for it. I don't get excited over movies.
What are you doing?
Bracelet.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Okay, so who's next for number 5? Alright, Kat?
Okay, so my number 5 was Suicide Squad.
Yeah, you want to explain it?
No.
Well, there already was a podcast on this, so Boo Boo,
Yeah.
Matthew, and Kat, you were in that podcast, so you
I
can.
wasn't.
So then you can talk about it. Be like,
For me, the more that I think about it, the worse it gets. It's still an entertaining movie. And I know the reason that Kat put it on her list is because she saw 6 movies this year, so...
So I had to.
yeah. My problem with Suicide Squad is I'm not a big fan of the Suicide Squad, like even before, as in the comic series or that, because it didn't really have any characters that interested me besides maybe the Joker making a small appearance. And in this, it was just pretty eh. So yeah. Boo Boo?
Yeah, I mean, I had high expectations for that movie, and I was really disappointed. I mean, there was a lot of depth to certain characters, but then I feel like there were other characters that they were just never given enough opportunity to develop. And I also feel like it was mostly just for action and stuff. I mean, there wasn't too much of an exciting or interesting plot. I mean, you kind of expected what was going to happen most of the time.
And the action wasn't even that great.
Yeah, it was disappointing.
Basically, the comedy was okay. From what I can remember.
Yeah, it was okay. So is that all we have for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Up next, for me, I have Batman the Killing Joke. Overall, it was... I got what I wanted, which was the Killing Joke, plus 30 minutes of... I don't know what that was, honestly. Just Batgirl and Batman having a weird relationship. And it felt like a soap opera for the first 30 minutes, and then somehow, supposedly, it led into the Killing Joke, but hey. The reason why it's on my list is because the parts that were actually the Killing Joke were actually pretty good. And that's what I liked. Yeah.
I didn't see this one, so I don't really
Yeah.
have comments.
Yeah.
Me neither.
It was not one of the 41 movies I saw this year that came out this year.
I saw it in theater with my sister. It was great. Alright, I believe that's all we have for that. Boo Boo, number 5.
All right, my number 5 is The Nice Guys. I loved that movie. I mean, it's number 5 because there were other ones that I liked better, but I thought that it had a lot of depth to it, and there was a lot of emotion, which I like in a movie when it's semi-realistic. It also takes place in the 70s, and I love the 70s. But I mean, Ryan Gosling was great in this. He had a really deep character, but he would appear to be somebody who, like, you originally think the character wouldn't be very much. You don't think you're gonna like him, but you end up falling in love with his character, and not just because he's Ryan Gosling, but because he ends up being a great guy.
So, would you say that the movie is full of nice guys?
I mean, I think they're deep down inside they're nice guys, but on the outside, they appear to be the bad guys.
Ah, okay.
I also enjoyed that movie. It didn't quite make my top 5, but yeah, I saw it. It surprised me with how good it was, and like the style of comedy is very unique.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. So is that all we have to say about our all number 5s? Okay, number 4. Who wants to go?
Well, let's keep the circle going. My number 4 is American Honey, and I recently saw this movie, and I went into the movie sort of like, oh, it's on Netflix and it's a 2016 movie, so why not? And then just the way, as the movie went on, it became something so much better. And it's actually a really long movie. It's a coming-of-age road trip movie, but it's 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
Oof.
But what that does is there's a lot of like character development, and it isn't even like forefront. It's like you have to put the pieces together yourself, and each of the characters is really complex, but you have to sort of discover it on your own. And the casting for the movie is really cool because what they did for most of the characters is they just sort of drove around and then found drunk teenagers all over the place and asked, hey, do you want to be in a movie? And then they auditioned for it.
While drunk?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I can be in a movie. You want me to drive this car? I can do that.
And like, you wouldn't expect it, but like the main character, this is like her first movie, and she's one of the best performances I've seen all year.
Huh, that's super cool.
Yeah. Were there any honeybees in it?
Probably. It has a lot of those like throwaway shots of like, oh look, there's a moth flying in the curtain for like a minute. Oh, and now there's a grizzly bear.
Okay.
I don't think I would like that one.
That sounds fun. Alright then.
Okay. My 4th is one that probably not many of you guys, none of you guys have probably watched it. It's Rurouni Kenshin, also known as Samurai X.
Okay.
And it was made in Japan and released in theaters in the US 2016. And it's known to be one of the best live-action adaptations of a manga or anime. So, yeah.
What is it about?
It's an action movie about a samurai guy who used to be an assassin but then doesn't want to kill anyone anymore. So he gets a sword that has the blade on the wrong side of it, and that's basically it.
Interesting.
Well, it's anime, so I don't have any
There's
feelings
nothing
towards
more.
it. A blade on the wrong side of it.
Yeah, like it's usually a one-sided blade. It's the katana, and so it's like curved, and usually the blade is on the outside of the curve. But he gets a sword that's made so that the blade is on the inside of it, so when he hits people, he doesn't kill them.
Huh.
That's okay, the inside curve. That's actually a pretty unique weapon. It takes a lot of skill to use that one, and it's used for more finer moves than your basic blocking, and I'm just basing this off of Star Wars lightsaber hilts. So
What?
because there are some hilts with the curved thing on the outside. So
No, but
it's,
this is the blade that's curved.
oh, the blade itself is curved.
Yeah, it's a Japanese sword.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
It's a lovely sight though. All right then.
You can cut that out if you want to.
No, I'll keep it in. It's a lovely bit of trivia there.
Basically, the only change between that and a real sword that they mention is that it's slower, like when you're trying to slash or something, since it doesn't cut through the air.
Okay, so number 4 for me is Doctor Strange. It's another one of those better Marvel movies that you see. It's a new concept, which is the concept of magic, which we so far have not seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it took an interesting take on it. I love the cinematography in it, the overall tone of the film, and also Benedict Cumberbatch with his funny American accent, I will say. And I like how it doesn't really connect to the Avengers. Like, there isn't like a cameo except for the after credit scene. And the only mention of the Avengers is just like, you're not the Avengers, and that's it. So, yeah. Pretty cool. I like what they did with the character. It's a nice origin story, and I wonder what they're going to do with him next. Amen. Just a lovely thing to add on.
My number 4 was Captain America: Civil War.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I had so many highs and lows though of with my emotions because I had such a hard time like picking a side and all that kind of stuff. But overall it was an okay movie. It wasn't as good as I'd expected, but I kind of feel like, I don't know, it almost seemed like it was kind of a filler movie. And I mean, I loved how they introduced, the new Spider-Man and how they brought in Ant-Man and everything. So yeah, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it, but I feel like it could have been done better.
I really liked it. I love the new Spider-Man. Like, the way they aged him down.
Yeah.
It fits very much with the way the character is. The way I imagine him to be as someone who doesn't really read the comic books.
No.
Yeah.
It was a movie for me. I
I
wasn't exactly a big fan of everything, except for some things. But
My favorite part of it was the new Spider-Man.
no.
I mean, like Matthew said, I mean, it was just
Shun him.
aged perfectly.
Shun.
And that airport fight, I know the stakes weren't very high, but it was just so much fun.
Yeah.
That's the problem with these movies. They're so much fun.
I'm having too much fun at the movie theater.
There's so much fun that there's really no point for them to fight. Kat, just give like a small.
Well, we'll do that later. Kat has a few comments, but we'll do them later.
Yeah.
For the sake
reasons.
of time.
For reasons, yes. Is that all for number 4?
Yeah.
Anyway, there is a podcast on Captain America: Civil War which goes more in depth about why we like things and why we don't. Check it out if you will.
This is how you advertise.
It's fantastic advertising.
Hashtag not sponsored.
It is sponsored greatly. Hey. All right, let's go to number 3.
Okay, I guess that's me. My number 3 movie is The Lobster, which Came out last year in a lot of places, and it went into like release hell for this year, so it wasn't released in the States until 2016. But the movie is really good. It's like darkly comedic, but in such a way that the first time you watch it, it's really disturbing, and the second time you watch it, it's really hilarious. And sort of the concept is it's a dystopian world where if you don't have a partner, then you're sent to a hotel where you'll be turned into an animal if you don't find someone to fall in love with. And so there's this one guy, and he has to go there and fall in love, and it's all like beautifully made, very artistic.
Is there? There's something that if it didn't happen in the movie, it should have happened. Is there a scene or any advertisement of Red Lobster restaurant?
No, there was not.
They perfectly wasted opportunity.
If you haven't seen The Lobster, definitely check it out. It's
Not
really
sponsored.
good. No, this is not sponsored.
We are.
Speaking of which, speaking of not sponsored, the studio that released it, A24, also released American Honey. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of theirs.
Oh boy.
Not sponsored.
I guess.
Nope, still not sponsored.
They must like animal-themed things. Honey and then lobster.
Well, they also did last year's Room and Ex Machina, and they've done this year's Moonlight, 20th Century Women.
Not sponsored.
No, this is not sponsored.
Okay.
Even though you should start demanding money.
No. Monetization brings in complications.
Oh yeah, then we have to do podcasts about all of their movies, which
Yes.
I wouldn't mind, but I think everyone
And then
else
people
would.
are saying, "Oh, you're stealing from them." And then there's that whole debate, and then someone gets called a retard in the process, and
It's not pretty. Showbiz is not pretty.
yes, and then it ends up being political. So that's basically the whole hate process on YouTube comments. Trust me, I've been through some.
Oh, Cat.
Okay, my third favorite was Zootopia,
Okay.
and I especially loved the animation of it because
Yeah.
I remember while watching it, seeing stuff that usually they wouldn't add in animation, like when someone turns a page in a book, it actually goes from one side to the other instead of, no matter where they open up in the book, it's always in the middle. I mean, just little stuff that I always was so annoyed by in other animations.
Fantastically animated, yes. That is a big achievement that they have on their parts. Overall, the film was okay. There were some minor plot holes and some stupid animals in that movie. But like, if you look past that, it is a pretty I don't know, rookie cop story like.
Yeah, it's a buddy cop comedy with animals, Disney animation. It has a good message.
Well, then it ends up with the idea like, oh no, are they gonna cross species or not? I mean, that Judy Hopps and the Fox guy. What's his name? Nick?
Yeah.
Okay, there seems to be something going on there. I mean, with that last line, oh, you know you love me. Yes, I do. What's going on there?
It was not said in a southern accent in the original movie, at least that I'm aware, because I only saw the movie in Spanish, so...
Hey, southern accent or not, it's a fun thing to say.
The Spanish voice acting was good.
Yeah. That's one of those interesting things. I didn't like the English version of the Lego movie because different voices didn't seem to fit the characters since I had seen it 3 times in Spanish
Well,
first.
even then, I think the English ones didn't fit as well as the Spanish for the Lego movie.
So the lesson is, if you don't like the movie and the language it's in, switch it to Spanish.
Yoda does sound pretty interesting in Spanish. Like, he sounds like someone on crack. Oh, especially the Russian version. Or was it the German?
I don't even want to know why you're watching all of these versions.
To learn Russian. I mean, you've memorized the movie by that point.
Yeah, why not see how other people portray it? Ideas on Zootopia? Anyone else?
Ideas?
Thoughts?
Really good. It didn't make
Thoughts?
my top 5, but it's really good.
Observations?
I haven't seen it yet, unfortunately, and it's sitting. I know.
Okay.
But it's been sitting on my shelf because we have
Wow.
it, and my sisters have seen it like a bazillion times, and they love it.
Lazy.
But I haven't watched it yet.
Wow, that tells much of your life, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know if it does, but okay.
Was that sentence correct? That tells much of your life?
Eh?
This isn't a grammar show.
So is that all we have for Zootopia?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay, for me, number 3. Matthew's excited for this. I can't wait to see what he says about it. Batman v Superman. For me, I really like the way it's portrayed. I do see the problems other people have with it. I understand it, but in the end, it is a different, universe that they're building. It's not the same. Storytelling elements may be different, but overall, it's fine. Definitely watch the extended cut. Not sponsored. There is a podcast on this. You go and check that out. Sponsored by me.
Okay, I will condense my comments as much as I can. So, first off, I didn't like the movie, and the more I think about it, the worse it gets. And
Like
then
Suicide
second
Squad.
off, it would have made a better superhero-themed art gallery than a movie, because the plot doesn't really work, and
It's fine.
a lot of the stuff that happens seems useless in the end. But
It's fine. It's just setting up all the other movies. And it's just going to make a lot more sense.
oh,
when
that's
the other
another
movies
thing,
come
and
out.
I actually have a comment on this that deals with the movie that we aren't actually going to talk about right now, but Assassin's Creed, and that is this trend of like, well, this movie isn't the best, but wait for the sequel. That kind of philosophy,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you aren't making a movie to make a good movie, you're making a movie to set up the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that.
A lot of people, the way they describe Assassin's Creed is that it's basically just all the cutscenes from the game and none of the actual game.
That doesn't sound very good.
I don't know, the cutscenes are well done itself.
Well, I mean, it sounds
But
like
it's
it
just-
wouldn't have
As
most
like
of
a
what
as like
people
a
love.
drama movie involving some action scenes, it's a really good movie. As an action movie, it doesn't work.
And it seems like all the fans of Assassin's Creed like it because of
Games.
what happens in the game, not what happens in the cutscenes. So
Yeah.
It's like, I don't understand why they're making the movie, because they still need to finish all the stories of the games. Like, what happened to these characters? What's going on? Make a good game. Where's our Chinese and Japanese storyline? Come on.
So does anyone have any more comments on Batman vs Superman?
Boo-boo.
I haven't seen it yet, but my brother went and saw it, and he was not impressed. And if he wasn't impressed, I know I certainly am not going to be.
Your brother isn't all that trustworthy, Boo-boo. I mean, we go to school with him every day, and he has some odd things to say.
Valid point. But when it comes to movies, he doesn't lie about that kind of stuff.
That's
I mean,
well, that's just his opinion, man.
totally.
I haven't seen it either. So
Watch the extended cut.
No, don't.
Yes.
It just adds 30 more minutes to the pain.
And no, you add 30 minutes, but you explain a lot of questions, though.
is it on YouTube where I can watch it at double speed?
Um,
Can I watch it at double speed?
Probably. Watch the extended edition. You get Jenna Malone's awful wig. Poor Jenna Malone and Amy Adams.
Hey, at least you get
They
more
deserve
Clark
better.
Kent.
They deserve Nocturnal Animals, which they were also both in, and which was really good.
Hey, that movie is an Oscar-worthy performance, okay?
Nocturnal Animals, I agree.
No, Batman v Superman, eh? Okay, boo-boo. Number 3.
Number 3. My number 3 was the BFG.
Okay.
I thought it was such an awesome movie. I grew up reading the book. I even did like projects on it when I was in elementary school.
Fun.
So I've always been a fan of the BFG.
Hmm.
And the movie does not necessarily fit everything in the book, but it was super, super cute. There's, it was super sweet and like, there's of course like, life lessons in there and all that kind of stuff. But it was also really funny, especially towards the end. And I thought the way that they did the animation was just genius. I mean, it was such a good movie. I loved it.
Okay. I didn't see it because movies are expensive in the U.S. and it's a long distance to go to the movie. And what I would say about the movie, just from what I've seen from trailers, that it looks like it's gonna be well done and fantastically animated, but it doesn't really seem like a story that I'd be all that into. So, yeah.
Mm.
For me, I saw maybe the first 30 minutes of it. I didn't love it, but that may have been like the story behind me seeing it is that
Did
we
you
had
watch the camera version?
No, I actually we had a senior work day, and after the work day, they aren't allowed to show anything beyond like a PG at the school, even if you're all seniors. So we had to
Really?
choose either the BFG or the Secret Life of Pets.
Really?
So we chose.
They showed us the new
This
Macbeth in English. That's rated R.
Well, this was a separate occasion. Anyway, so we're all sort of lounging around, and most everyone is asleep. I'm not asleep, but of course there's someone asleep on my legs. So my legs are falling asleep, and I don't know, there were too many, like, gross out jokes for me. It felt a little kiddish. But that may have just been...
Yeah.
Okay.
That may have just been the events surrounding it. I will say, from what I saw, it intrigued me enough that I was considering watching the rest of it.
Yeah, you should. The ending of it is hilarious.
Do all the main characters die?
No, that's Game of Thrones.
Okay. Okay, so like
Number 2.
we seem to be going by quickly here.
Yeah.
30 minutes. Okay, fun. Go ahead.
Okay, so in my number 2 movie, I have to explain a bit about how I was going to go and see this movie. So, I've been waiting for this movie to come out, and it finally comes out in the theater. So, the weekend that I want to go, my dad has taken our car to the beach with my sisters. And the only English showing is at like 12 at night. And I can't walk home alone at 12 at night. And my mom isn't going to go and pick me up because she's not awake at 12 at night. So I said, okay, fine, I'll go and see it in Spanish. And it's actually my second favorite movie of the year, and that is Arrival.
Mm.
And it was wonderful that I saw it in Spanish because the whole movie is about language. So it actually worked out very nicely. But
cool.
it's like perfectly done, in my opinion. It is really well acted, really well directed. The cinematography, the visual effects, all of it like comes together to make this emotional, smart, slow paced, but really exciting and intense drama.
Like, when I first hearing of the movie Arrival, I was interested, I would say, to actually go and watch it. But then I watched the very first trailer that came out, and upon that trailer, it just showed me way too much of the somewhat plot of the movies that I feel like should not have been presented on the trailers. And so that really just lost my interest in it. And plus, there really was no actual time in English for me to watch it. And there was no one I would actually watch it with. So, probably were busy doing other stuff. I don't know, when did it come out?
November.
We had the play in November.
Oh, and this is the perfect time to bring up another movie that I love but that didn't get on here, and that is Nocturnal Animals. And I bring it up because it stars Amy Adams as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another very well-directed movie, even though it's a whole lot darker. Okay. Any comments on Arrival?
Didn't watch it.
Yeah. Lulu didn't watch it, or did watch it? I think she died. Are you there?
Me?
Yes.
Sorry, yes. No, I didn't watch it.
Okay.
Sorry, yes, no.
We are actually being really productive. Last year, this was a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my.
How many people?
Well,
4.
same 4.
Wow.
Except you have FlameWolf and his brother.
Ah.
And those were the talkative people.
Ah.
And plus, they were movies that we actually saw.
I will say one minus about seeing 41 films is that you get a lot of in your top 5 movies that no one else saw.
Yeah.
Especially if you enjoy the indie
It's a
movies.
fun experience just looking up all the pictures for the podcast.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, you're next, Kat.
Okay, so my top second is Your Name, and it's an animation, Japanese animation,
Okay.
and basically it's about a boy and a girl who fall in love, obviously.
Okay.
Of course they have to fall in love.
Why not?
And basically they actually switch bodies at times, and that's how they actually get to know each other. So it starts out like they have to set rules for each other and all that stuff. And it's really funny. And then the ending is amazing. And I don't know if I want to spoil it.
No, I want to watch it. That sounds good.
Okay.
Yes, this
Isn't
is...
Yeah.
This is like a big critical movie right now. It's doing its qualifying run for the Oscars.
Oh.
And yeah, there are a lot of critics online talking about how good it is. And it's supposed to be, the director is supposed to be the next Miyazaki.
Wow.
I especially liked how I noticed in Miyazaki's films and stuff it started out super slow and I would get bored, but for this one it didn't seem to really start out like that, so I enjoyed that.
Fun.
Okay.
Okay.
No one else watched it.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Alright, number 2. For me, really interesting one. Number 2 is Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders. This is a family animated film which brings back... It's basically the 60s Batman TV show as an animated movie, bringing back the actors of Adam West and Burt Ward to reprise their roles as Batman and Robin. A big nostalgia-filled movie with jokes making fun of the original series, callbacks to other movies. It was just a lot of fun. I watched it with my mom in the theaters, and because she grew up watching those on the TV at the time, you know, it was a lot of fun for her. And I have to say, I actually did watch it as a kid. It was all a lot of fun for me. And I hear they're making some sequels, so yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. They portray the characters really well, although some were a bit more modernized. But overall, it was a good adaptation of the original series. And those are car alarms in the background.
I didn't see this, and I haven't seen the original show, but from what I've heard, it's really good. And I saw the trailer, and it looked hilarious.
It is.
That's an example of a movie that's fun, and it's actually good because it's fun.
Yes. Can't wait to get it on DVD.
I had never even heard of it.
Same here.
I actually marathoned some of the original 1960s TV series before watching it, and just seeing the comparison and just some of the... They actually referenced some of the stuff that we watched, so it was really fun.
Nice.
Yeah. But that's all for that.
All right. My number 2 is Doctor Strange.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I love Benedict Cumberbatch. He's my number 1. And I thought it was the perfect mix of, action and comedy. I also love the beginning and how they're building the character. The character development in the movie is amazing. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I can't wait to see Doctor Strange in an Avengers movie.
Yes.
That's going to be interesting.
Well, he's in Thor, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to have a small part in the new Thor movie.
Okay.
Very small, as in like cameo.
Fun. Anyone else want to say anything else about this?
Didn't see it.
I saw it. That was actually interesting. Because it was like Doctor Strange one week, and then a few weeks later it was Fantastic Beasts. So I actually only ever saw Doctor Strange once, and I saw Fantastic Beasts twice. But I did want to see Doctor Strange a second time. I just didn't get around to seeing it.
Okay. Yeah. I guess it's time for number 1.
I think most likely we all have the same number 1.
What do you have? Oh,
Well, yeah, because Matthew told me to save this one for number 1.
Yeah, so that we
Otherwise I
can
would've
talk
put your
about it
name.
together.
Okay, Boo
Hmm.
Boo. Tell us what's your number 1?
My number 1 is Inferno.
Okay.
Oh.
Different from us. Okay.
You could do that, and then we'll do ours because we all have the same.
Yes.
Okay.
You want to talk to us about it?
Sure. Yes. Okay. So Inferno, I had no idea what it was about before I went in. I just knew it had Tom Hanks, and I actually watched it in IMAX, which was awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that made it even better. And I thought, okay, at the beginning, I almost walked out because it was just a bit too scary for me to handle. Because they portray hell as a place on Earth, which I thought was extremely creative and honestly could possibly be realistic.
Yeah.
And there's lots of plot twists throughout the whole movie, and you get attached to a character, and then you hate them, within a matter of 2 seconds. It leaves you confused, and your mind is just racing the whole time. I love it. I love movies that do that too.
So Boo Boo, do you know that Inferno is a movie from a series?
I had no idea.
Okay. There is an actual series of movies about Tom Hanks portraying that character. I believe one is called what? The Da Vinci Code?
Yes, the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons. I've seen Angels and Demons, and that one was really good.
So it's a trilogy then?
So if Inferno
I've heard of those movies. I've never seen them.
Okay.
I will say I read the Da Vinci Code book, and that felt like an essay in novel format, so I don't know how good the movie can be. But Angels and Demons was really good.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm sure I saw one of them many years ago. All I remember is a glass pyramid.
The Louvre?
Probably. That's it. Or something under it.
The
Yeah.
Louvre is going to be in Wonder Woman.
I
I still can't believe you didn't know what the Louvre was.
Well, I mean, I would assume it's the bathroom, the loo.
We were playing a trivia game, and he asked me, like, where is this one ancient artifact stored? And I was like, I don't know. And he goes, like, the Louvre or something. And I'm like, oh, it's the glass pyramid in France. What?
That's hilarious.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, I was just reading what it was spelled like. The Louvre.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know the French had a different meaning. Okay. Okay, so Matthew.
Okay,
Kat,
let's
and
count
I-
this down. 3, 2, 1,
Rogue
Rogue
One.
Cat.
She's off sync, say it now.
Rogue One.
Okay, we're gonna have to readjust that so that we're in sync. Probably not, but it'll be fun.
Too much work.
Yes, Rogue One, the new Star Wars movie.
Spectacular. I've seen it 5 times.
Yes,
I probably...
the two of
I've
us.
been Rogue One'd out for the next month, but...
The two of us have seen it 5 times now.
I've seen it twice, maybe.
Yes.
yes.
It's in my top 3 Star Wars movies.
It's my top Star Wars movie.
Matthew and I, we had a podcast on the movie. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun, sponsored by me. It's just an interesting idea and the whole take of Star Wars and the Rebellion and the whole anthology film towards it. It just adds more to the original trilogy. And since you weren't here, Kat, do you want to say anything about it?
Well, I really liked how they portrayed, like, they gave a different side to the rebellion, how, like, yes, it is bad, and, like, and also they had the people in the rebellion rebelling against the rebellion at the end, like, sort of when they were flying away to go get the plans for the Death Star.
Yes, which made it feel more like an alliance instead of just one unified order. It's just the alliance.
Gave it a more human side.
What's this? Okay, so Boo Boo is apparently leaving. Am I right?
Yes, I have to go.
Do you
right
want
now.
to name your
Least favorite?
least favorite of 2016?
Oh, sure. Yeah, okay. My least favorite was The Shallows.
Okay, and what you're excited for next year?
The Justice League.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you. Thanks for joining us for however long you've been here, and it was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry I have to drop out early.
Don't worry, we're almost done.
Yeah, we're almost done.
All right. Enjoy. It was nice being here.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Right. Well, we're done with her. Who wants to talk behind her back?
What if she watches this, though?
Yeah.
She.
Okay, so my least favorite movie of the year, and I'll try and condense my comments for this one as well, is Sausage Party. So I went into this movie with the full knowledge that it was going to be bad, but I just had to see how bad it was. And basically, it's not very well made. And I understand, like, I may be a religious person, but that doesn't mean I hate anti-religious movies. The problem goes deeper than that, in that its arguments don't logically make sense, and it isn't that artistic. Its metaphor doesn't extend beyond, like, the boundaries of the movie, and in the end it's just as blunt as the two genres that gave birth to it, porn and animation.
Fun. And probably,
Okay.
in some aspects, some Robot Chicken.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Alright.
Okay, my least favorite, and keep in mind this is my least favorite because I've only seen 6 movies this year, is Captain America Civil War. And I didn't really like this one because it seemed like there was no good reason for them fighting, and it seemed like the characters weren't acting to how their characters would act.
Preach.
And Vision.
And I was confused.
That's one of those things that surprised me. Like I asked after Civil War, I asked my family, like, "Oh, what did you think of Vision?" And they're like, "Who?" "You know, Vision, that guy that picked up Thor's hammer." "Oh, him! I didn't know he had a name."
I've completely erased that movie from my memory, so I can't really tell you much about it. But it seemed like the whole fight was completely pointless, and yeah, the whole movie was pointless.
For me, I had my reasons. You know, it had a good first half, but the second half, it just didn't know what it wanted to do. Okay, for me, it may seem like an odd choice for a least favorite movie, but for me, my least favorite movie of 2016 is Finding Dory. Oh, fun. Just there were, let me just go through it in the motions of how it started. So when the idea of a sequel to Finding Nemo, that it was going to have a sequel, was announced, you know, my thoughts were, why? There's really no reason to have another movie. I think we got everything that we needed in that first movie. And then they announced the title, that it will be called Finding Dory. And then I was even bigger. Why? What's there to do with Dory? We already found Nemo. Why do we need to lose her? And you know, I went to the movie thinking it's gonna be bad, and just hoping that it wouldn't be bad, but it was bad. It was really a pointless story of Dory finding her parents, and honestly, it's just a bunch of coincidences after another that led to her actually finding the parents. This chord makes no sense. And you know, it just took away all of the adventure and realism of the ocean, and like some of the realistic aspects of fish, like from, you know, the first movie. And then you just bring in these just impossible things that fish are doing, like driving cars. And
What?
yes, an octopus was driving a car. And
They're smart, but not that smart.
And his camouflage was impossible, actually becoming invisible. It was more like Randall from Monsters, Inc. than an actual squid blending in.
Octopus.
Yeah, that thing. And it was just a bunch of nonsense that was like only there to make money with the kids and all that. Yeah. And the only good thing about that movie was Sigourney Weaver.
I haven't seen it, but from what I've heard, it's not the greatest, and I don't actually plan on seeing it.
Yes. It was a bit of debate between this and another movie, but since the other movie, I already have a whole review on it, which is the fourth My Little Pony Equestria Girls movie, which it has its own problem. I have a whole analysis and reaction to it. Go check that out. Sponsored by me. And yeah, but I was more disappointed with this one than the other one for those reasons. Anyway, so that's that.
Okay, now we're on to the most anticipated movie of 2017. And for me, I had to narrow it down quite a bit, so I narrowed it down to movies that had a trailer out. And then I had to narrow it down even more. So I'll just list off a few honorable mentions. I was thinking Blade Runner, Alien Covenant, Ghost in the Shell, but I finally settled on one that most people don't know about called A Cure for Wellness. And what it is it's basically if Wes Anderson did the cinematography for American Horror Story Asylum. And from the looks of it, it's a like creepy, artistically done, really cool horror movie. from the director of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that. Okay,
Wow.
For me, I don't really keep up with movie news, so I don't know very many movies coming out. So my most anticipated is the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the previous ones, although I hope they're more at sea, unlike the fourth one where they were on land and it wasn't quite as fun. So
Yeah. They're missing all the good pirates.
mhm.
Jack Sparrow, he's just there.
I really loved the comedy of the first, especially the first one.
Yeah, that was good. Okay. So for me, normally I would say Star Wars because it's Star Wars. It's always going to be number one for me. But since I decided I might as well give something else a chance, and this one has really picking an interest in me, is Logan, which is I believe, the last Wolverine movie in the series. Hopefully.
Yep.
I like how you say hopefully, but it's your most anticipated movie.
Well, yeah, hopefully, because, I don't know, they might bring in another X-Men movie. And it's like...
This is Hugh Jackman's last movie as
Okay.
the Wolverine.
Logan. And the reason why I say it, because it is an interesting concept of an old man Logan having what we think is a clone of him in the form of a little girl, and having a Professor Xavier with Alzheimer's. That's fun. But the reason why I'm really interested about this movie, because watching the trailer, it's a fantastically done trailer that makes me feel. It feels a lot like The Last of Us, and even the designs of the characters, like Wolverine. He looks a lot like one of the protagonists of Joel. Hold on, don't shut it all the way.
Okay.
And the female character, I don't know what her name is. She's a lot like Ellie from what we see, and it's just like I'm interested to see how it goes from there. It feels like it's gonna be a fun movie, some tragic story elements, some really good bonding elements, hopefully, and yeah, I just hope for a good movie.
Okay.
Hello. I believe that's all we have to say about this. Shush, shush, shush. Anyway, so thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
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 Okay.
Bye.